Hi, independent GelMoment distributor Kim Foster here. In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to do a heart ombre. I started with a base coat of raspberry XOXO. I'm also using Lovee Dovee, Maya's Cheeks, Witchcraft, and lastly, Jasmine Cherry. To save time, I've gone ahead and cured 2 coats of raspberry to my nails as a base. Now I'm taking a dotting tool and I'm putting 3 dots on my nail. This is how I make all my basic heart shapes. And I'm going to form a little triangle. Now I'm going to take my medium striping brush and I actually join those dots together. I find that this is the best way to make it look most like an actual heart, giving it the right shape instead of just joining those 3 dots together with the dotting tool. The brush just kind of evens it out and makes it a little bit more of a flowy, consistent heart. And you can also adjust then. So if your one side is a little bit lopsided or not big enough, then you can kind of adjust it with your brush. Because this is our first coat, you don't have to make it absolutely perfect. We'll worry about that in the second coat. So as you can see, I'm just sort of making my general shape, and you want to make sure that your general heart in the beginning is what you want because you're going to be building off of this. You can put it anywhere on the nail. I've obviously gone ahead and put it kind of slanted to one side. I'm going to cure that now for a full 45 seconds. Now I'm going to take Maya's Cheek, which is our next lightest color, and I'm going to just basically trace that heart outline. And I'm going to make the next layer. So you just keep working your way around. You want to make sure that both sides are even. And I very much just eyeball it. So if I feel like it's a little bit too thick on one side, then I adjust the other side to even it out. And of course, if you were really unhappy, you could always wipe it. That's why I cure in between each color. This also prevents the colors from blending together. Sometimes when you're working with gel polish, because they're self-settling, they can blend together and the shape can actually be distorted, and you don't want that, right? At least not for this particular design. So just keep working my way around, making sure that the humps of the heart are nice and rounded, that the tip of the heart is nicely pointed. And then of course you want to make sure, it's sort of hard to tell just because of the way the light is shining, but that your widow's peak for the top of the heart is nice and defined at the top there. If it isn't, you can always go in with your next color and make it a little bit more defined. We're of course going to do another full cure for 45 seconds. Now we're going to go in with Witchcraft, and we're just going to repeat the same step that we did for the second and go around the edge. This is what I talked about when I meant that you could go in and make your widow's peak a little bit more defined. You can take that darker color a little bit more onto the lighter color if it wasn't quite as perfect for you, and make it look more like a heart. Also, bear in mind that this is just our first time around and that you're going to make sure that everything is nice and even and perfect for the next coat. As you can see in this particular design, I didn't take the heart off the nail like I did in my previous one. There's a picture at the end of this video showing the previous manicure that I did with this heart ombre. And I actually had my heart kind of falling off the tip of the nail, which is what I think is kind of fun about this, is that you could alternate on each finger doing the same design, but move the heart around and be on different spaces. Once I'm done that, I'm going to go ahead and do another 45-second cure. Lastly, we're going to do Jasmine Cherry and do a layer of that around our heart to complete the full ombre. In the end video or the end picture, the color that I had used on my nails was Jasmine Cherry. Unfortunately, I had taken it off to do some pictures with the raspberry XOXO, so that's why I'm demonstrating it with the raspberry. But I actually do prefer the look of it, just the 3 colors, the white, Maya's Cheeks, Witchcraft, on a backing of Jasmine Cherry. I think it's so stunning. And as always, I always have my designs fall off my nail if they are close to the edge. So you make it look like you're continuing on. If you were to take a side shot, it would look like the nail art should go past your finger or onto your finger, I guess. So of course, make sure you wipe off any polish that you get on your skin before you cure it. Just making my way around, making sure everything kind of looks even and is very heart-shaped looking still. I'm trying to keep the thickness of each color layer about the same. Sorry, the video got a little bit cut off there. Once I've completed this, I am going to do a full cure. I should mention too that the reason I'm doing full cures in between each color is because I'm putting it on fairly thick and I want to make sure that they're good and cured before I put my next layers on. I just cleaned my brush off with a nail cleanser before I went back into the Lovee Dovee. And this is the layer that you're really going to want to make sure is absolutely perfect. You're going to want to make sure your heart is nice and smooth and perfect. All the edges are all met up, that there's no like spilling into another color, that kind of thing. Maya's cheeks can be a little bit of a trickier color because it is kind of a translucent, really light color. So you may need to do 3 coats. I was happy with 2 coats with the color coverage, but it's entirely up to you. It just depends on how thick you're applying it. Of course, you don't want to put it on too thick because it won't cure properly. But I do find that I can be fairly generous with it and it will be great for curing. So as you can see, the second coat really seems to finish everything off. Once again, I'm sorry, I kind of cut that off. Did another cure. Now we're doing the Witchcraft. And for time's sake, this has all been really sped up for you guys because it does take a little bit more time with all the curing. If you need to, you can make the layers a little bit thicker with each color layer. However, to kind of make it all nice and smooth and look appropriate. Doing another cure. And then lastly, we're just going to go in with a Jasmine Cherry to finish our last color layer off. You could, if you wanted to, continue the pattern on, and I would just start with white again and put it on the edge of the Jasmine Cherry and just keep rotating the colors until you completely cover the whole nail. If you wanted to do it as an accent nail. I'm doing a full cure. And because I like to top everything off with Clearly Frisky when I do nail art to protect it, that is what I'm doing right now. Doing a full cure. And that's the finished ombre heart. And this is how I incorporated it into my Valentine's Day mani. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe.